What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol KOSS for Koss Corp. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, yes, this will, of course, be a bit of a update here. We talked about it just yesterday, obviously massive gap up. We talked about the scenario for a gap and trap as well as a gap and go. It just so happened that the gap and trap panned out, so hopefully you were able to avoid new longs or basically buying on the massive gap up this morning. In terms of structure and what happened here, obviously it was basically straight down to fill the gap to the prior day's high, and then we even got some acceptance back inside of the prior day's range. So certainly, repaired the structure in a nasty day of selling here. What I really think unfolded here was the fact that if we just scrunch this chart up, obviously there are people caught long, not only from back here, don't get me wrong, there's certainly a number of people who are caught long from there, but there are people who chase this every single time, right? And as we get price activity that moves higher, they want to get out of their positions, right? They're sick and tired of holding this thing, and I don't blame them. So they're the ones who are the sellers at the open here. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the short sellers. It's people trying to get out of underwater positions. You can see that by the huge nature of the volume, right? If we take a look at the 30-minute, it was just straight down. It's not like there was at any point in time, a period of healthy consolidation where it looked like buyers were trying to, step into the stock. No, right? It was basically straight down. And again, on really solid selling volume, which to me would indicate a lot of people are trying to get out of this thing instead of, initiating new positions as shorts in my estimation. So those are my 2 cents from the, volume and fade perspective. In terms of what we're going to do about this headed into tomorrow, the main thing to watch is not so much of this anymore. Let's get rid of that. So we'll remove, and this is still the top end of that daily range, so I want that. This is what we're watching for, right? If we can get any sort of move back above this area here, 1875, then technically there could be a break that takes us to here, the top end of the daily range. Remember, that's not unreasonable, and that trade would look like this from the daily perspective, okay? Just trading back up to the top end of the range, that's not a huge ask, right? Basically, it's time where we've spent, it's a place where we've spent a lot of time rather, and there is some price acceptance around here, just noting that we've touched it so many times, right? If it was going to be rejected solidly, we would have moved far away and just never tested it again. But 1, 2, 3, 4 main touches here doesn't seem unreasonable in my estimation for a trade like this to unfold. Obviously, anything higher than that, you're just monitoring these levels here, 2078 and then 2260, the high of today, as your overhead areas of resistance. Do I think it gets there? Not really, right? Obviously, we discussed the people panicking, or not panicking, but getting out of the position for as close to break even as possible. But if we take out the Fibonacci's as well, come into the low of the move, I mean, think about how much work would have to be done to get back up and over the 38.2, also above the prior top end of the daily balance, right? So a lot of buying pressure would have to be there if this is even going to attempt the top end of today's candle. So just keep all these things in mind and try to keep a realistic view whenever you're dealing with things that have a lot of emotion tied up into them. That's basically whenever you see large bodied candles, right? That represents a lot of emotion. Last thing I'll talk about is, of course, volume. The only way that this could potentially make it up towards those highs would be if we see huge buying volume right out of the gates, arguably on par with kind of this area in here, at least 1 million shares per 30-minute bar, if not greater, okay? So those are my thoughts inside of Koss. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new today, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.